welcome back to another Smart ER. Apologies, it's been a while, but I've been a very busy boy. Today we're going to look at the front brake pads and how to change them on the Smart 451, but it's pretty much the same principle for any car. So as usual, I don't go for the normal Mercedes original parts. I go to my local motor factors and I get a pattern part. So these brake pads are ones that I've used before on a variety of cars, including smart cars, and if you've checked the video I've done on the rear brake shoes, the Smart 451, it's the same manufacturer as well. They only cost me £16, yes, £16. If you go to a local garage, even a non-Mercedes one, you're probably looking around about £65–75. That's probably about $80 to $90. So as you can see, they're nice and neatly well packaged. A security seal on the box originally. You've got two pairs. They always come in pairs. So if you do one side, you do the other. And there we have them. So as you can see, there has a locating chrome bar on one side. But they both also have little sort of wings. Can you see them? Little sort of spring-loaded wings. And that's so that when they're in place, it reduces the ability for brake squealing. Quite nice, quite nice. So next up, the ones on the left are the old ones that I've taken off from one side already, and the ones on the right are the new ones. Now the ones on the left are still quite serviceable, but I've got an MOT coming up shortly, so I thought I'd better be safe than sorry and make a video. So what are you going to need? Well, here's a few things, and it's the main things you'll need. So you've got some WD-40, you've got a couple of spanners, which I think is a 17 and a 13mm spanner, a power bar, a 16mm deep socket, the locking wheel nut removing tool, there is a knife, the brake pads, and that funny looking thing that looks a bit like a Dalek is a wind back tool for brakes. So let's get straight into it then. Now, I'm a poor man. I don't have axle stands, but if you look at the other videos I've done on how to jack a car, you'll see it's quite safe. So basically, we're just going to remove the front wheel. No new things to go over there. And don't forget that locking nut. You don't have to over tighten it, but sometimes if you go to a garage and you've had a new tyre, they can use an air gun. It can be right a pain. So a little tip is, do the tighten motion first and then do the loosen direction, and you'll find it does slacken off. So here we go. With the wheel off, you get it fully exposed, and there's the brake caliper. So that big thing on the left is the brake caliper. I'll just go into the cabin now and just rotate the steering wheel so you get a better access to it. Now, this is the brake caliper. This is what does all the work at stopping the front of the car. These are the brake caliper retaining bolts. Pretty much the only things you're going to be taking off. Here are the brake pads. That's where they're located. And if you ever want to check how much meat or product is on them, braking product, you can just look through there. So I'm just applying a little bit of WD-40 or releasing fluid, being very careful not to get them anywhere near the brake pads. So with the left hand spanner, pull up, and the right hand spanner, you pretty much just keep it there. Now the left hand one is a 13mm, and the one in my right hand is a 17mm spanner. Now it looks like they are pinching each other, which is why you need the two, otherwise you'll find that if you just use one, it will just rotate. So with the releasing fluid having done its job, you should find it quite easy for the bolts to come off. So here we are from a different angle. Obviously I've sped this up a little, so you're not going to have like 20 minutes of a video of me just turning spanners. But you get a better idea here of how to use the 17mm spanner to hold one of the actual nuts, and then use the 13mm one to actually remove the bolt. There you go. So sometimes what you'll find is the top one is easy to get off and the bottom one isn't, and you might have to put it back in, which is what I did in this instance. So I took it out, and then I found this was really difficult to get undone. I couldn't get any purchase on it. I couldn't get enough of a bite on it. So put the other nut back in, and as you see, it's really stubborn, even with penetrating fluid. But it's okay. I have an idea. So come back with a hammer. Now it seems a bit agricultural, but literally just hold it carefully and tap it upwards, and that spanner will work its way through. There you go, see? And you no longer need it. You just want to get it just to break that seal, that's all. And there you go, back with the old the two spanner action. I like that phrase, two spanner action. So having removed the second bolt, put them both away. I normally use a pot. We're now going to actually remove the brake caliper itself and pull it towards you ever so gently, and don't pull or tug away any further. It's just going to come away a little bit, okay? So there's a hose there at the top. You don't want to pull or stretch that. Now this gives us full access now to see the actual brake pads themselves here and here, and they literally just wiggle out. It really is that simple. Job done. So this is where all the work is done. So this brake caliper, and this is the piston. So when you put your foot on the brake pedal, this pushes outwards towards you, and then obviously applies the pressure to those brake pads, and it pinches the brake pads against the brake disc. Now that brake piston has to go back into its hole because it's come out as the brake pads wear. It comes out and out and out. So we need to put it back in because we're putting brand spanking new brake pads on with a lot of material on them. But first what we'll do is we'll give them a bit of a clean. So yeah, that's the circular thing, the drum. That literally just goes back. There's a couple of methods of doing this. Any sort of thing you can use to bridge the gap, and very slowly, I've sped this up, you literally just gently ease that piston back in till it's almost flush. And the second option, this is a wind back tool. Now you use this on some cars with rear brake discs rather than brake shoes on the smart car, but this does exactly the same thing. It just allows you to gently and slowly have a lot of control and push that the piston back into the caliper, and you do it ever so slowly and gently. Nice and easy. Either way will work. Just be gentle. And there you have it. Nice and easy. So now with the piston fully retracted, we'll give it a bit of a brush and clean up. Now you might want to wear a mask. There can be some asbestos particles within the brake product on the actual brake pads. And here's just another angle that you can see. So we're just going to give it a nice clean so that when we put the new brake pads in, they shouldn't squeal, but also just makes it a nice and easy finish, and it's just a better job all around really. Lovely. So here are your new brake pads. You just simply slide it. Look how easy that is. Boom. Pay attention to the way they go in as well. Look at the one with that metallic flap, that locating flap. And you've got these spring-loaded wings. And that is it. You really cannot go wrong. It is that simple, ladies and gentlemen. And it's in. There you go. So now you take your brake caliper, and again gently, not dropping it, and making sure that hose isn't stretched or pulled. You literally just push it over the top of the two brake pads, making sure those little springy wings are sort of level. So the top lug of the brake caliper goes in exactly the same way it came out. But this can actually retract in. This allows it to float along the disc as the brake discs and the brake pads wear. So literally pop your caliper retaining bolt in. It might be a bit wriggly, but the golden rule is with nuts and bolts, if it isn't going in easy, don't force it. You'll cross thread it and it will be an absolute nightmare. Number 2, so as you see, I've done the top one. I'm going to put the bottom one as well, but I haven't fully tightened them up. So again, this one is spring loaded. So as you push it in, you'll need to give it a little bit of force against the caliper as though it's pushing it towards the front of the car, and those little wings, those little spring loaded wings will give a little. And then you just slide the bolt in, like that. Use your hand just to hand tighten the bolt, the retaining bolt into the bottom of the caliper, and that's it. And it's literally just a case of tightening those little suckers up. Same as we did when we loosened them, but in reverse. You can use a socket if you wanted to do this, to make it a bit quicker for you. But when it comes to things like this, I prefer to use proper spanners. So that is it really. 2 new brake pads put in, really not difficult, job done.